From an ancient fish long thought to be extinct till one was accidentally reeled in by a fisherman, to terrifying beasts that haven't changed in billions of years. These are terrifying sea creatures scientists thought were extinct. Imagine reeling in a fish that was supposed to have been dead for 66 million years. Well, that's what happened in 1938 when a South African fisherman unknowingly pulled in a coelacanth, a prehistoric fish that scientists thought had gone extinct right alongside the dinosaurs. How insane would that have been? This living fossil has changed almost nothing in hundreds of millions of years. Unlike typical fish, the coelacanth has lobed fins with bone structures that almost look like primitive legs, and some researchers think they sorta kinda are, in that they may be this evolutionary bridge between sea creatures and the first land-walking vertebrates. Even weirder, they don't swim like normal fish. Instead, they sorta walk through the water, moving each fin in a coordinated way that kind of mimics four-legged animals. And oh yeah, they also glow. Their scales contain a type of bioluminescence that gives them an eerie, ghostly blue shimmer. Even now, coelacanths are incredibly elusive, found only in deep waters off of Africa and Indonesia. They also live pretty long, up to 100 years, maybe even more, and they give birth to live young after an absurdly long gestation period. Scientists estimate it takes up to 5 years for baby coelacanths to develop inside their mother, so they're really strange animals. If deep sea creatures had horror movie, the Lancetfish would be at the top of the list. These nightmarish predators have long, ribbon-like bodies, oversized dorsal fins that run nearly their entire length, and razor-sharp needle-like teeth that jut out even when its mouth is closed. It's the kind of fish that looks like it shouldn't exist, and yet it does, lurking in the twilight zone of the ocean. One of the strangest things about the Lancetfish is their diet, or lack of digestion to be more accurate. When scientists have studied their stomach contents, they've found whole, undigested prey inside, as if these fish have no real digestive system at all. It gives them an almost undead-like quality, as if they're constantly eating but never fully breaking down their food. Lancetfish are also hermaphrodites, meaning they have both male and female reproductive organs, which makes them even more unique. And here's another strange little fact. Even though the Lancetfish live so deep down, they've been found washed up on beaches fully intact, leaving researchers wondering why they suddenly appear on land. Are they dying off because of some unknown environmental factor, or are they being forced to the surface by something even scarier lurking down in the deep? The discovery of the Megamouth Shark in 1976 was an accident, and one that left scientists amazed. This deep-sea giant, reaching up to 18 feet long, has one of the strangest appearances of any shark species. It's got this massive, gaping mouth that looks like it belongs to some extinct sea monster. Unlike most sharks, the Megamouth doesn't hunt with speed or brute force. Instead, it swims slowly with its enormous mouth wide open, filtering tiny plankton and jellyfish from the water. It's a bizarre feeding method for a shark, more like a whale than a predator. What also makes the Megamouth so terrifying is that we simply don't know a whole lot about it. This species was completely unknown to science until 1976, when one accidentally got caught in a US Navy ship's anchor line, and since then only a few dozen have ever been seen. That means a giant deep-sea shark was swimming around the world's oceans completely undetected for who knows how long, proving just how little we really know about what lurks deep down in the ocean. The chambered Nautilus is basically a time capsule from 500 million years ago. Unlike most modern sea creatures, this relic has remained virtually unchanged since even before the age of the dinosaurs. It survived multiple mass extinctions and ice ages, making it one of the toughest survivors in the history of the planet. But what makes the Nautilus kinda eerie is its design. Its shell follows the Fibonacci sequence, and for those who are unfamiliar, the Fibonacci sequence is a mathematical pattern found in galaxies, hurricanes, and even in human DNA. Is this just an evolutionary coincidence, or is there something more mysterious going on? Some believe that this natural spiral represents a form of perfection, almost as if it were intentionally crafted by some unknown force. Now, unlike squids and octopuses, its distant relatives, the Nautilus lacks complex intelligence, but it makes up for it with one of the most efficient buoyancy control systems in the animal kingdom. It fills and empties its shell with gas to move up and down, allowing it to hover in this eerie, slow motion stillness. And how does it spot danger while living so deep down? Well, it has these large alien-like eyes that it uses to detect even the faintest movements in near total darkness. The Goblin Shark. This gorgeous deep-sea cutie has a grotesquely elongated snout, rubbery pinkish gray skin, and its most breathtaking feature, that inviting mouth. Just look at those jagged needle-sharp gnashers and tell me that you wouldn't want to kiss. Those jaws launch forward, by the way, like a projectile to grab their prey. First discovered in the late 19th century, the Goblin Shark remained a mystery for decades, rarely surfacing from its deep-sea habitat. Then, as commercial deep-sea fishing started to expand, more of them started appearing and showing just how bizarre this creature really is. Its hunting method is really cool, aside from the alien xenomorph jaw snap thing. See, instead of chasing its prey, the Goblin Shark senses electrical signals in the water using specialized organs in its snout, which is nuts. And then when an unsuspecting fish or squid swims by, its entire jaw explodes forward, grabbing its prey before snapping back into place. It's basically a biological harpoon, and it works so fast that high-speed cameras are needed to capture the movement. The Goblin Shark is a living relic, a species so ancient that it dates back over 125 million years, and I bet a lot of the animals that have to deal with it wish that it would have just stayed there. Alright, let's talk about sturgeon. You might be thinking, a sturgeon? Really? That's just, a big fish. But the thing is, these fish are pretty much prehistoric monsters. Some species, like the beluga sturgeon, can grow over 20 feet long and weigh more than 3,000 pounds. That's too much. Too many pounds. That's the size of a small boat, and their armored, bony bodies make them look like something that should have died out with the dinosaurs, but no, they're still swimming around in the depths of rivers and oceans, an animal that's barely changed in over 200 million years. People have mistaken them for sea serpents for centuries, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. There have been reports of massive, shadowy creatures surfacing in lakes and rivers, only for it to turn out to be an absolutely enormous sturgeon. And because some species live for over 100 years, you might just run into the same one that your great-grandparents saw, which is pretty cool. Now we're gonna get a little outlandish, but hear me out. The Plesiosaur. It's supposed to be extinct. That's what scientists say, but for over a century, people have been spotting long-necked, flippered creatures in waters all around the world. Loch Ness, Lake Champlain, the oceans off Japan. Even experienced sailors and fishermen have reported seeing something that looks an awful lot like a living plesiosaur. One of the most famous cases may be the 1977 Zuyo-Maru incident, where Japanese fishermen off the coast of New Zealand hauled up this bizarre rotting carcass that looked a lot like, well, a dead plesiosaur. Scientists quickly dismissed it as a decomposed basking shark, but some researchers just weren't buying this. The shape, the flippers, the long neck, it was all just a little too uncanny. If someone told you a sea serpent was caught on camera, your first thought would probably be like, maybe, I guess. But then you see the frilled shark and suddenly you're not so sure anymore. Like, I guess, yeah, sea serpents do exist. The thing is pure nightmare fuel. It's got an eel-like body, rows of needle-sharp teeth, and a mouth that looks way too big for its head. It's been around for 80 million years and has barely changed at all, which tends to be the case for some of Earth's ugliest, creepiest animals for whatever reason. The frilled shark usually stays deep underwater, but every now and then, one turns up near the surface. One was caught off the coast of Japan in 2007, and let's just say it didn't do anything to calm people's fears about what might be lurking in the abyss. Scientists say it's harmless to humans, but honestly, if you saw one of these things swimming toward you, would you really care? You'd have a mini heart attack regardless. Now, horseshoe crabs don't look that scary at first. They're just weird, alien-looking creatures that have been roaming the Earth for around 450 million years. But when you realize they've survived multiple mass extinctions, including the one that wiped out the dinosaurs, you start to wonder what kind of deal they made with the universe. Have horseshoe crabs been the key to life all along? Well, here's something really cool. Their BLOOD is blue, and I mean bright blue. And it has its uses, other than keeping the crabs alive, obviously. It's used in the biomedical industry. They harvest it to test for bacterial contamination in vaccines. So yeah, not only did these things outlive the dinosaurs, they're also aiding in modern medicine. Scientists still don't fully understand how they've managed to stick around for so long. Whatever they're doing though, it's working because they barely changed in 500 million years. And finally, if there ever was a real-life sea monster, it's the giant squid. For centuries, sailors have spun tales about this massive tentacled beast dragging ships under the waves, but no one really believed them. Then in the early 2000s, scientists finally got proof giant squids were real, and they were just as terrifying as the legends made them out to be. These deep-sea giants can grow over 40 feet long, and their eyes, some of the biggest in the animal kingdom, are specifically adapted to see in the pitch-black depths of the ocean. They use their long, lightning-fast tentacles to snatch up their prey, and their beaks are so strong they tear apart just about anything they catch. And let's not forget about their arch nemesis, the sperm whale. Deep-sea battles between these two have been going on for who knows how long, and sometimes washed-up whale carcasses show up covered in these massive sucker marks, proof that these fights aren't just tales told by sailors. Even now, we barely know anything about giant squids. They just live so deep that almost everything we've learned has come from dead specimens or very rare footage. There could be Godzilla-sized ones deep down in the ocean. Who knows? With all that said, I've been your host James, and I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.